Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Well, I'm honored to be here with my colleagues from the House Freedom Caucus.
A final draft of the US House Ethics Committee's report into Matt Gaetz, obtained by US media, has found evidence he paid for sex with a 17-year-old girl and used illicit drugs while in office. It says the former Florida congressman, who was at one point Donald Trump's nominee to lead the US Justice Department, violated multiple state laws. Mr. Gaetz denies wrongdoing and says the people investigating me hated me. He has filed a temporary restraining order in an effort to block the report's release, arguing he is a private citizen and it would cause irreparable harm. The US President Joe Biden has commuted the sentences of 37 out of 40 federal death row inmates, switching their penalty to life in prison without parole.
There's the president right there.
Here visiting a children's hospital for a Christmas story time reading, the president said he was more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty at the federal level. The three excluded from the measure include the Boston Marathon bomber and the man who killed Jewish worshippers in 2018. In a statement, Mr. Biden said his measure does not include more than 2,000 people convicted to death by state authorities. The Saudi authorities are working flat out to collate everything they have on the Magdeburg market suspect, Taleb al-Abdul Mohsen. The Saudi Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Riyadh says it previously warned the German government about his extremist views. It sent 4 so-called notes verbal, 3 of them to Germany's intelligence agencies and 1 to the Foreign Ministry in Berlin. There was, the Saudis say, no response. 2 former Israeli intelligence agents have revealed how members of the Lebanese Shia militant group Hezbollah used Israeli-made walkie-talkies booby-trapped with explosives for 10 years before they were detonated in a surprise attack in September. The 2 ex-Mossad agents told US media how the service duped Hezbollah into buying thousands of rigged walkie-talkies and pagers without realizing they had been made in Israel. Dozens of people were killed and thousands injured in the attacks. Israel said it was tailored to target only Hezbollah members, but civilians were among the victims. The UN human rights chief called the attack a war crime. Drone footage shows the bridge connecting 2 states in Brazil's northern and northeastern regions, which collapsed as vehicles were crossing, killing at least 1 person and spilling sulfuric acid into the Tocantins River. Preliminary estimates indicate at least 11 people were involved in the incident, with 2 trucks, a car and a motorcycle falling into the river, which is more than 50 meters deep. Workers have narrowly escaped a ship as it rolled over on its side at a port in Istanbul. CCTV footage was shared by Turkey's Directorate General for Maritime Affairs. 10 of the 15 crew were rescued by aid personnel and 5 jumped into the water. The governor's office said the ship, ANMAH, rolled onto its side at around 1 a.m. on Monday because of an imbalanced loading of the cargo. Dozens of containers were submerged in the water as a result of the accident. Large chunks of snow have been seen falling from the roof of a building in Japan amid a cold wave blanketing much of the country. The Japan Meteorological Agency's website showed that at least 20 centimeters of snow fell on many parts of the country, with some areas in the north of the main island of Honshu receiving up to 200 centimeters or more. The JMA has attributed the heavy snowfall to a powerful winter pressure pattern and advised people in the northern through western regions along the Sea of Japan to exercise vigilance and caution. And this year's Christmas message from King Charles will be delivered from a former hospital chapel in a year which the King has been undergoing cancer treatment. The location for the traditional Christmas Day broadcast is the Fitzrovia Chapel in central London, which once served as the chapel of the Middlesex Hospital. It's the first time in more than a decade that the Christmas speech has been recorded from a place that isn't in a royal palace or estate, and it's understood that the King wanted a location with a healthcare connection.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.